Welcome to Life Happens, where Texans come to protect their legacy and prepare for the second half of life. Join your host, attorney Kim Hegwood of Your Legacy Legal Care, and our weekly guest as we navigate the challenges that emerge as life happens. Now here's your host, Kim Hegwood.
Good morning and welcome to Life Happens with me, Kim Hegwood, and our very special guest today is Andy Tubman. Good morning.
Hello, hello. Good morning. Nice to see you.
And so we're going to do something interesting today, and we're going to talk about the healing power of music, unleashing joy through the chemistry of singing. I will tell you that right off the bat, you don't want me to do that today. And so I'm hoping it's not a requirement. And
No,
good, in fact, thank God.
but the thing is it's funny you say that as a joke, but the part of what we're trying to our kind of mission, I guess the word is, but like is really to enable people who don't think that they're good singers to be able to not be able to sing better, but just to be able to sing. Because the singing itself, right, the act of, just like yoga, is really kind of the point to the whole deal.
Yeah.
So as a music therapist, even if you sing awful, I'll think it's beautiful.
And so my singing only occurs where no one can hear. And so, and,
Perfect.
I will tell you though that my 4-year-old grandson, even from a very little, boy, he's only a little over 4 now. He would not let me sing Rockabye Baby. And so the other kids tolerated it. He did not. He's got no. He's like no. So I'm like, thank you. That's really interesting. So how did you become interested in utilizing music to help those people with cognitive conditions?
Um, so this would be the answer. You mean from the beginning, how I got into being a music therapist, or how we
Yes.
started seeing a music therapist? Okay. So it's kind of an intense story, but I will make it quick. In that, basically, the night before uh, the first day of college, um, one of my best friends, one of the two best friends that I had from high school, we were going to the same college, and he didn't show up the next day. And he went into, I got to school, and somebody came up to me and uh, they're like, "Oh my God, did you hear about Sean?" And so anyway, one of my best friends went through a windshield and had traumatic brain injury and was in a surgery for a couple of days and was in ICU for months and months. And with this whole situation, it was very challenging. But I had heard, not that I had any real clinical inclinations, but I had heard that people in comas were able to hear music. And so, Sean and I had previously put together a very bad band that I played very badly. I knew like 3 Elvis chords, and that was it at the time. So I started to kind of sneak in the ICU and play these bad songs, for him. But his condition was, bleak, like not like they had, he was close to being gone. And, but he kind of made it through the night and through weeks, and I'd continue and I got better uh, on the songs that I was playing. And after pneumonia, when he stabilized, he got put into a room outside of the ICU, still within the realm, but just a more stabilized room in a coma. And one night, where all of the friends from high school and from local were there, I actually sang Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" for him, and he came out of the coma mouthing the words to "Wish You Were Here," and everyone's like, you know, heavy. It was heavy. And so the nurse was like, asked me, she's like, "Hey, uh, eh, maybe you should go into music therapy." And I'm like, "What's music therapy?" And she's like, "Well, we have a part-time music therapist here at the Brain Trauma Center." So I, you know, that was kind of my path. And I went literally Temple University in Philadelphia is the best music therapy, especially at that time, music therapy program in the world. So I auditioned, enrolled, and the rest is history.
Awesome. That's awesome. I love a good story. And so, it amazes me sometimes about how life directs us.
Yeah,
And so,
no, that was a turn from playing baseball.
yeah, almost definitely, just a little bit. And
Yeah.
so talk to their listeners for me today and tell me how can music from a person's, you know, memory, so to speak, re-engage them in day-to-day activities.
So, especially when it comes to familiar music, um, songs that we've been engaged with our whole lives, and especially songs that you're singing your whole lives. These songs are integrated in our brains globally, right? So, to express the most simple song from, uh, London Bridge, like a kid's song, to songs from your teen years that you really integrated and sang along with the radio and ooh, Teen Idol. It doesn't matter. Like, if you are engaged on a regular basis and over time with these songs, what happens is you are energizing and activating language centers, timing centers, motor centers, planning centers, subcortical, topical, short term, long term, right? The whole brain is rocking. And so, in addition, it's almost as if you have this neuro imprint of the music, right? Just like a computer has an imprint, an imprint of a program, and you have this imprint of these programs. And so then what happens is that when there's some sort of lesion in the brain or shrinkage of the brain, right, due to um, dementia or different brain trauma, the rest of the brain that has not been damaged is still active and conscious of that song. That neuro imprint is still intact, except for the place that's been challenged. So what's been proven is that when you continue to do music in specific ways, right? That what this imprint and this global exercise of the brain means to day-to-day activities is that even when there's challenges cognitively, there's still this structure in place when it comes to song, right? And when you feed the songs to a person with the right intent and the right songs, the preferred music, it's like you can sometimes you see it very clearly. Somebody goes from being having sundowners and being very agitated to I found my thrill, and now all of a sudden their agitation is organized in time with one of their preferred songs. So it's a very interesting organizational tool, and that is how it really helps to structure and engage people, I think.
So, how can music be a brain workout? And does actual singing really positively impact the brain?
Yeah, well, yes, I'm very biased, but yes, of course, right? So, um, the in terms of a brain workout, the exercise that's occurring here is global, like I was saying. So you're activating all these different parts of the brain. When you are listening, the research shows that it is very song dependent as to how much of the brain you are lighting up. So if it's a song that someone is into, familiar with, needs to hear at that time, matches emotional state, all these nuances, a good amount of the brain is lighting up. But typically, if you're hearing a song and you're not focused, very small parts of the brain are lighting up. But when you go to the active music making, the singing, where the person is producing the sound, right, have to integrate Where's that beat? Even though they're not conscious of it, it seems very simple, right? I found my thrill. Seems very simple, but it's actually madly complex in the brain. So that when you do this singing process and active music making on a regular basis, you got some smoke coming out your ears, whether you see it or not, right? You're really working neurologically and cognitively.
I just think there are sometimes when you're listening to the radio or something and you hear that song and you're like, oh, it kind of puts you in a different time and space, brings back memories, a lot of times you think, oh, I remember that song, a lot of times it's just those few songs that just really make a huge impact that I find that, just kind of takes you back, to a place when we were just a tad bit younger. And so
No, it's very true, right?
how
And
can
this,
SongFit help patients specifically with dementia?
so may I just go back a second? Do you
Sure.
want me to explain the memory part of it?
Sure.
So, when you have that really good feeling, when you hear that old song, it's a very interesting kind of phenomenon because it's in music therapy, we typically call it the reminiscence bump. So that when you're going through teenage years or younger years and you fall in love and there's this song or something that connects the music to you, again, this neuro imprint, the energy that happens is remembered in your body, is remembered in the cells, is remembered in your brain. So that when you hear that song 60 years later, 30 years later, whatever it might be, there's still this feeling that occurs in this memory, not even necessarily a conscious memory, that is happening. So it can be a very powerful tool with the right intention. It's exciting to me.
Yes, I can imagine it would be. And so, but no, I understand. Definitely, I understand and that aspect of it. And so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about SongFit or SingFit and how does
SingFit.
it help patients with dementia?
So I think that the singing process, as I said, is everyone thinks about, well, it calms people down or it brings back memories. But to me, these are the effects. What it's actually doing is helping somebody be organized cognitively. It's helping someone be organized neurologically. And it's this organization that creates the calm, that creates reduction of negative behaviors, right? It's this being organized because when you're confused and scared and time is weird, and this is when everyone's anxious and there's challenges. But when people feel organized, right, things calm down. And even though there's cognitive challenges, things are manageable and they feel pretty good. So in general, SingFit gives the part of the technology is that it cues the words to a song. In other words, in spoken word, fly me to the moon. And then they sing, fly me to the moon. And so it actually provides the cue and then the sung phrase, and of course, all the music around it. And so what that does, it enables anybody, people with cognitive challenges that are challenged with reading, people with visual impairments, high functioning people, to spontaneously engage in the singing process and being organized. And so when it comes to patients with dementia, you literally could sing somebody into the shower where otherwise they might be scared as hell to get into that cold, room, right? That with the hard marble floors that is not comfy, and that could be traumatizing. Or if someone, like I said before, is agitated and you know that song Blueberry Hill is going to engage them, you can take them from agitated to organized and energized. And so that's how we construct and design SingFit to enable caregivers and activities folks and rehab therapists and individuals to use a singing process and active music making with intention. That's the idea.
So, what are some practical ways to incorporate music and singing for, just normal day to day kind of stuff with people with dementia or any other cognitive, conditions?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one way that I think is a pretty dramatic example is that I often suggest people to try, once someone with dementia is already acclimated to the singing process, right? You're singing with a caregiver on a regular basis, or even once or twice a week, right? But once someone is kind of it's accepted, then you can really use it as a really powerful coping strategy. And so, what I suggest often is that you actually do the singing and schedule it. Let's say that a person has predictable sundowners at 5:30 in the evening every time, which means their neurochemicals are going out of whack, they're agitated, right? They get in the negative feedback loop. Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? Right? There's very, very challenging situations. But if you sing at 3 o'clock and you sing for 30 minutes or more with that person, and that person starts to regulate cortisol, which is what singing has shown to do, our stress levels, right? And also release oxytocin, this connecting neurochemical. So like there's all these positives that will help elevate the mood, serotonins and the dopamines. All these positives will help to soften, not get rid of, it's not a pill, but help to soften by 5 o'clock those negative behavioral expressions. So if you can use this on a regular basis, you can really use it as a coping strategy in many ways and really help to soften. And then, I mean, one of the challenges with sundowners in particular, which is a challenge, a very difficult challenge with dementia, is that once the person actually is in the throes of this level of agitation, it can be challenging to get them out with anything. So my suggestion is anticipate, right? So schedule the singing prior, or if you see slight bits of agitation, grab SingFit, grab the app and get singing before the escalation happens. And then you can help to mitigate, a full-blown episode. So I think that's pretty functional. That's pretty practical.
So, where can people go to find out more about the SingFit app?
Yes, singfit.com. Yeah, that would be great. So singfit.com, there's information about the app, about how to contact us, our team, about SingFit Caregiver, our new tech, SingFit Caregiver and SingFit Pro for rehab therapists. This is our new technology that we're launching right now. That is, it's very exciting to me. It's literally, we have, do I dare say, like put a gut instinct and a music therapist's brain into algorithms. And we take real-time data from the patients and the caregivers. We take diagnostic data, and the app puts that in an algorithm and then prescribes, if you will, not literally, but gives the most appropriate songs, creates a playlist most appropriate, and guides the caregiver in language and song choices on how to feed that to the person they're working with. And so it's a very it's an independent process that someone can go through. And of course, you can always hit me up at singfit.com and ask me questions on how to, facilitate and go deeper.
So it's not just I hit my favorite playlist and this is what I use. So it sounds like y'all put some really a lot of thought and expertise into really getting it right. And so that's amazing. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm super impressed. And so
Thank
and
you. Yes, this is not your regular listening, here's a playlist, go listen to that when you're feeling, agitated. This is we call it therapeutic music, and it's really using the singing process to focus on different challenges, with whether that be respiratory challenges for COPD patients, whether that be language rehab for stroke patients, or whether that be management or mood elevation for dementia patients. And it's all very focused and on how to utilize that, when to utilize that with the person, et cetera.
Wow. And so I think you talked about the website, right?
Yeah.
The www.singfit.com. Yeah. Is that the way someone gets in touch with you?
Yeah, that's easy. Or just info@singfit.com is very simple to, and you can get to me that way, is no problem. Yeah, we have a great kind of customer service team and folks in office all the time, so they will connect us.
Perfect. And so thanks so much for being on the show today. And
Yeah,
so,
Kim, thank you
and
for the nice questions. Appreciate it.
so yeah.
Thanks for
and-
tuning in to this week's episode of Life Happens with Kim Hegwood. Be sure to tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. wherever you listen to your podcast as we navigate through the challenges that emerge as life happens. The content of this podcast does not establish an attorney-client relationship or constitute attorney-client privilege, legal, medical, financial, or any other professional advice.